Hey everybody, it's Luke with Figure Me Out. Today we've got the Avengers Endgame Wave 2 Marvel's War Machine. Look at the box here. We've got Rhodey on the front there. We've got a nice picture of him on the side there. I saw some, I guess the full artwork that I saw on the Fuchsia's channel, I think. They're starting to put out the full artwork of that, and that looks really cool. So that'd be kind of a cool one to get. On the back we've got a read-up. If you want to read that, you can go and pause it now. If not, there's the other side. You can see the other figures in that wave. Looking at the top, we've got the A logo, Build-A-Figure Hulk on the bottom, bunch of nonsense. Let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. And here's War Machine out of the box. And first off, one thing I gotta talk about, this guy has some heft to him. He's a very hefty figure, very big. Probably the biggest War Machine Marvel Legends has done in a while, maybe ever. We'll see here at the end. We're going to compare him to a couple other ones. But I'm going to try something new tonight. We're going to do a light box close-up. So bear with me and we'll do it now. And welcome to the light box. This is going to be a new segment, hopefully that we'll do, but it's just going to get a little bit of a closer up view. It's going to stable the camera a little bit so that we can get up close and personal with our weapons. Don't mind my dirty fingernails. I've been at work all day. But looking at this first piece, here is the gun that mounts on his shoulder, and it's painted pretty nicely. It's got some red there at the end. It's got a nice ball joint that, again, plugs into the shoulder there. The next accessory that we have is actually going to be these little underarm mounted guns, and they are just a solid matte black. It's kind of got that gunmetal feel. Pretty nice, you know, finish on these. Nothing spectacular. It's kind of a weird, you know, futuristic looking retro. It's kind of a weird futuristic looking gun, but again, it comes out of a suit of armor underneath the man's arms, so doesn't have to look like a real gun, but it looks pretty good for what it is. It's got kind of a magazine in there at the end, or something equivalent. I don't know, they use blasters, but hey, whatever works, right? And then looking at Colonel James Rhodes himself, and this figure is painted pretty phenomenally, I gotta say. It's probably one of the better painted figures I've seen in a while, actually. So looking at the arc reactor there, we've got a nice red with a nice white sheen on the inside, so that's pretty cool. We've got some lettering over here, and then over on the shoulder we've actually got the little Air Force kind of symbol. It's not the actual Air Force symbol, but it's something equivalent, basically the MCU's version of that. And then looking at the eyes are painted very well as well. So you can see it's got that red, but it's got that white paint on the inside that really kind of gives it that glowing look. It's fantastic. A little bit of silver here. I think the whole figure is cast in that black, and then all the silver is painted on top of that, is what it looks like to me. Looking at the feet, same thing. There are peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And looking at the back of the figure, we do have even more paint. I mean, just pretty good. A lot of times they don't paint the back of the figures. We've got the numbers painted on. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, the back looks really good. Definitely all new, all unique sculpt. But that's an up close of him. So let's get him back and talk about articulation. And so talking about articulation, let's go ahead and plug these bits back in first. In the shoulder there, and then again, those underarm pieces, we're going to throw those in that little peg hole underneath the arm. Now, I'm guessing there is a peg hole underneath the arm that fits these. I haven't tried it anywhere else yet. Let's see here. I don't think it can go on these legs. No, it's too big for the leg holes on either side. Well, maybe you can actually fit it in the outside peg hole. So if you want to have him doing a leg gun type thing, you totally can, for whatever reason. And if you want to have them surfing on them, they don't fit the peg holes, so you can't. Sorry. Anyway, so talking about articulation, I'm just going to set this one to the side because it's kind of the same. But and I'm going to pull this off for a second. But looking at the head, it is on a ball peg, and the ball peg does go back and forth. So with that, you're restricted a little bit by the sculpt. Again, pretty good sculpt, so I'm not too, I'm not going to complain about that. But he does look up okay. I wish he kind of looked up a little bit more, especially since this is a flying character. But it is what it is. He buries his chin in his chest, so that's okay. He can look down pretty good. He does look side to side to get full rotation there, but it is impeded again by that. But if you want to lean it forward, you can get it fully turned around if you really want to. It's not fully on that ball peg, so there is just a little bit of pivot to it, so that's good. Whenever you plug in the cannon on the side of the arm, So you do kind of limit the, well, you don't really limit the head so much, but you do get a little bit of rotation. Like I said, that's on a ball, so you do get a little bit down, a little bit up. And you can, I mean, if you want to kind of really push that to the limits, you can, you can kind of set it in there, but it will fall off that way. But really snapped in there, you're going to get up about that far, you're going to get down about that far, and you do get a full, well, I say full rotation. Again, his head kind of gets in the way, so it kind of smacks into his face at some point. But you do get a nice shoulder cannon, and that's what that's for. So, taking that off, looking at the rest of the articulation. At the shoulders, the right shoulder is kind of interesting because it actually mashes up this piece. It doesn't look very good, but that's because you have that cannon piece there. On the left arm, it actually comes up really, really well, almost seamlessly. I mean, you couldn't ask for it to be better. It kind of dents in there, and you can't even hardly tell that it's that this is like a soft plastic piece there. And underneath, you can see the shoulder joint, but it is just kind of a softer piece on there. You don't want to pull too hard on that because you could tear it. I don't think I did just then, but be careful with that. But anyway, that soft piece, it just kind of floats out of the way on that side. Oh, I could do that all day. Look at that. Perfect, seamless, fantastic, exactly what you want from this figure. Anyway, so the you do have an upper bicep swivel. It is a little limited, again, just by the size of the sculpt and all that. You have a single jointed elbow, goes in right at about 90, maybe a little bit less. And then you do have rotation at the wrist on both sides, and you do have a hinge going back and forward. Now this hand is open, and this one's a fist, but they really have about the same rotation and about the same back and forth. So at the torso, at the diaphragm, you have a joint that goes left and right. It's one of those ball joints, and it doesn't go forward very much at all. Doesn't go back very much. Again, flying character, really disappointing. But in Endgame, I think he stands on the ground a lot and shoots at stuff, so maybe it works good. I don't know. And then at the bottom of the arm, forgot to mention the gun there. It is you can move 360 degrees. So if you wanted to have it shooting off in some crazy direction, yeah, you can do that. I don't know why you would do that instead of just pointing it, but you can. There is no waist rotation because you get the rotation at the top there, and that does move all the way around if you really wanted to. But at the hips, I'm going to move these arms out of the way. At the hips, they go out side to side, about that much. So not too terrible. He does kick forward a pretty decent amount on that, and he does kick back just the slightest bit. There is an upper thigh swivel on both sides. There is a double jointed knee that once you click it into place, it gets pretty far back there. Not all the way, but he's a guy in a giant suit of armor. What do you expect? No boot rotation, but there is a ankle that goes down a little bit. It goes up just the slightest amount. But there is an ankle rocker, and this bottom piece is a little bit softer plastic. Not as soft as the shoulder pieces, but definitely more flexible than a completely rigid plastic. So it does give you a little bit of ankle pivot so you can get in those wider stances, but you're not going to be doing any crazy kung fu with this guy. And here he is next to a couple other War Machines. I didn't notice this until just now, but this one's got the 006, so I'm guessing this is the Mark 6 War Machine. That's 003. And I don't know if this one has anything on there. His foot comes off because I haven't glued it down again. This one does not have a mark on there. That must be before they're doing that. So I'm going to call that the Mark 1 War Machine. That's going to be the Mark 3 and the Mark 6. And man, so he got shorter, and then he got really beefy. I do like that this one was way too skinny. This one I thought was a really good size at the time, and I still do. I still think this looks like a guy in a suit of armor. But this definitely looks like a guy wearing just a mobile tank on himself. And that's kind of what I picture whenever I think of War Machine. I think of just a machine of war. So like a tank or something around a man. He's just huge and beefy and bulky and armory and heavy, and this one definitely fits that bill. At the time I thought this one was really great, and I still like this figure a lot, but the paint and everything on this one is a lot better. And just in case you were wondering, the Don Cheadle head does fit on there. It's not very tight, so you can actually just lift it right off, but from that first War Machine, man, that looks good. Rhodey with the upgrade. That looks like a guy in a big old suit of armor, and I think that looks fantastic. Here he is next to the Infinity War Iron Man Mark something. And they look pretty good together. War Machine definitely looks bigger and beefier, but I think that's how he's supposed to, so that works well for me. And here he is next to a couple other War Machines. I guess that the shoulder-mounted cannon is a big thing with War Machine. They all have it except for this guy over here, and looks pretty cool. Finally, here he is next to the SH Figure Arts Tony Stark and the Mezco 1/12 Collective Classic Iron Man. And I think these two, they scale together fairly well. I think that these two scale together really, really well. That SH Figure Arts is just a little bit smaller, so with the Legend scale, it really kind of beefs up that armor suit, and it really makes it look like it's a guy in a suit. So that's fantastic. So there he is. That's the War Machine Mark 6, I guess, from the Avengers Endgame movie. The Wave 2 of action figures, and I really think this is a solid figure. Didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece, but I think it's double packed in the case, and really this is, with the amount of sculpt and everything they did on this, it's a pretty standalone, standout figure. If you're just going to get one from this wave, probably wouldn't be a bad choice. But there are a lot of good offerings in this wave. We're going to have the rest of those up later on in the week and probably into next week. But, you know, if you like this review, hit like, hit subscribe. Give me a follow. I'm over at Instagram at Luke_FigureMeOut at Instagram.com. I'm also here on YouTube, Luke_FigureMeOut. And, you know, in the meantime, happy collecting.